Hey people, let me go ahead and get the disclaimer out of the way here. Please see the disclaimer on the description this video, and no, you can't sue me or take any legal actions against me for the contents of my video, since viewing is your own discretion. Now, for this session, I wanted to go through and say that this series that I'm going to be making is going to be pretty personal to me. It's going to be resonating due to, I guess, it's going to be plucking, I guess you can say, at my heartstring. It's a personal chord that's being tugged. But I want to go through and elaborate more on, I guess, the video that I made from Coco and me's response to, I guess, what was it? Was it Asian and shorter guys, or just women and shorter guys? But this goes through and elaborates a bit more on that. So I want to share some, I guess, some articles and some stories, and then the comments that go with them. Most likely in the last session for this series is going to be the article and comments from the Ask Men website that, I guess, had this article. And let me say that there was a shitload of responses, and I'm in the process right now of filtering those, the ones that I feel really embodies the underlying nature, the argument, the sentiments, and to give you a, I guess, a forewarning that it's not going to be nice. It's pretty much going to be biased on one part, but there will be different points of views on that. So just be warned that, like I said, the comments in there are pretty much going to be really raw and crude to some extent. But like I said, it's the most true and honest sentiments that those that endure goes through. So let me go ahead and read, well, share one of the stories. This one was on MSNBC. This one was called Confessions of a Short Man in Love. And no, this is not my personal story. So let's see here. I basically got 7 minutes to see if I can finish this article. One vertically challenged writer comes up short in romance. Let's see here. There's no lack of short relationships with men. You just don't see a lot of short men in relationships. Whether it is ultimately natural selection at work or just an inability to spot smaller men in a crowd is anyone's guess. You'll find dozens of couples every day at the big and tall, but there aren't a lot of wedding registries in the children's department at Barney's. On the dating rack, people are extra large in love with no room left for the little guy. Fairfield, Connecticut, 1993. My first formal dance. I'm scuffling along in my shoes meant for a Clydesdale. Rental tuxedo sleeves threaten to swallow my hand. My date is 5'10". I'm 5'3". This won't end well. The picture on the mantle tells the story. She has me by half a foot. Her dress is simple blue and seemingly endless. Her arm is on my shoulder in a way to go buddy gesture. Pink and gray balloons reflect in the mirrors over the parquet dance floor. It's Saturday night at the Knights of Columbus. The bass dies on cue. The DJ breathes heavily into his microphone. My tongue burns from Benica. It's a slow dance, the first one of the night. It's over before it even starts. My eyes never leave the top of my dance partner's dress. I want to make eye contact, but I can't. Under the circumstances and raised with different morals, I might have enjoyed the position I was in. Instead, my uncooperative shoes lurched toward my date's unprotected toes. By the end of the song, I'm standing on a chair. My date heads for the bathroom as the last chord of I'm the one who wants to be with you mercifully fades away. My hot cheeks are as pink as the dance floor balloons. We won't dance again that night. Just 24 hours earlier, we had been sitting and kissing at the movies. Great date. But it all unraveled when we stood to dance. Boston, Massachusetts, 2001. Against my better judgment, I take a girl I like on a walking date. However, I abandon dating taller women, and with a 2-inch height advantage, I like my chances inside the Children's Museum. A painted blue strip runs length of the wall in the human exhibit, noting the average height of men and women in society. Quote, I'm shorter than 90% of men, end quote. I cheerfully informed Kate. The top of my head stands just below the blue line. Nope, you're shorter than 95% of the population, she responds. Ah, can't be, I stammer. It's right there. 90% of men are in the blue strips, 5% above and 5% below. You're in the bottom 5%, Kate says, not unkindly. It is then that I realize that I have condemned my future children to a life of holding the chalkboard signs in elementary school photos. Portland, Maine, 2002. Kate is now my girlfriend. We sit at the picnic table, our feet dangling above the ground, when she reveals her theory on short men in the dating world. Have you always been confident with women? She asked me, her spoon swirling around a cup of frozen yogurt. I eye her warily before answering. Definitely, I bluster. Well, then you support my theory. I think that shorter men are actually more confident than taller guys. But doesn't that just lead to little man's disease, I countered? LMD, little man's disease, or the Napoleon complex, is manifested in a shorter man who has a hyper-aggressive and seemingly angry over his shortcomings. Never do shots with this type of guy. It can in some cases, but I think if you take the average tall guy and the average short guy will be more confident. He has to be in order to get dates because tallness is just a default option for women. The tall guy never has to work as hard, says Kate. I consider her theory while taking a bite and ultimately end up nodding in agreement. I know I better marry this woman. Kansas City, Missouri, 2004. A Starlight Theater in the Kansas City Zoo. Twin bricks parapets welcome more than 250 guests. White scones hang over the stage. My wedding vows are short, written on scraps of hotel stationery moments before the walk down the aisle. I promise our children will be small but plucky. I say. Our guests roar with laughter. I promise not to grow an inch, replies Kate. It's a promise I will hold her to. So, I guess with that one, you know, it's pretty much the girl's theory of that shorter guys pretty much have to be more confident. They have to work twice as hard because, like I said, supposedly taller guys are just the default option for women, along with personality, and of course there's all the other factors and everything else. But I like that argument. Like I said, I can totally relate and understand the sentiments of the guy, of what he went through and just his situation. But like I said, I was only able to, I guess, get one story through with this session. So more stories in the next session. So I'll see you guys then.